I'm going to show you the only target you need to be hitting in the raid, and of course, go through the build for my DAGGERSPINE at the end. You can use the chapters feature at the bottom of the video to jump through different elements of the video. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Battle Pirates video. Let's go ahead and get started. I am using a high evade flagship with an evade crew. Those are the two most important things in this target. Go ahead and enter on the north side of the target, and you're going to go with this blunderbuss first. The blunderbuss is actually pretty easy to deal with. You just need to keep moving as long as it's firing with you. You'll notice I actually tend to pause just a little bit every time I get in range of a turret. That's because when you're stopped, these fields that pop up here actually pop up and increase your damage or supercharge when you're stopped. And that's really important here, or your shockwave damage at least. For this target, I'm going to enter in the very top and go straight down here, grab these first two turrets, swing out around the outside of the target, and head towards, again, keep rimming the outside here, all the way down the bottom, up to the right side. The right side is where it's going to get tricky. You have to steer up to the little corner right up here and kill a few things before swinging out through the rest of the target. Let's go ahead and get into it. If you do this right, you can do it for instant map repair, which I have done exactly one time. Now I'm going to engage these two sort of short-range turrets here. They are things that you can outrange pretty easily, so just go ahead and move past them. Don't even worry about them for now, and get in range of the launcher. The launcher is the biggest thing. It should be the only thing that damages you in the target. For that reason, you need really high evade, especially on your flagship because of King Killer. I'll talk about that a little bit more when I talk about the build. Notice also that there are some of these blue projectiles being fired at me by this blunderbuss cannon. It's really important to stay moving when those are fired, although if you've driven this enough times, and you actually will get pretty good practice, because again, it's the only target you should hit in the raid, it's really the only one worth it, you'll actually be able to start predicting it, when it's going to hit you, when it's not going to hit you, when you can pause and take advantage of your sort of stopped bonus there. Right now, for example, I'm paused, I'm going to kill this turret, and then start moving. Now, you'll notice that the radioactive turrets are really important, and they're not going to get a volley off on me in this video, and that's because of a few different things. One of those is the evade, the second of which is that when I am getting fired at it, I need to be moving directly towards it and starting to shoot at it. Let's take a pause for a quick second here to kill this blunderbuss. You can actually just get it using the wall here, although if that's too tricky for you and you sometimes mess up, you can just stay moving and you'll be fine here. And I just got hit on video there while saying it was fine, so, you can stay moving against that one. There's the radioactive turret. It should only get off one volley at me, maybe the start of a second one, before it dies here. It should never actually shockwave on you. Again, here's another blunderbuss. You can hide behind the wall on the right side right here if you would like, although for this one, I always just stay moving past it. If I don't quite kill it, that's okay. I'll just come back and get it a second time. The little building I just killed here is not important for now. It actually just increases the effectiveness of the cheeseball death machines, you could call them right here. See, there's the wall blocking that blunderbuss right there. At this point in the target, you could retreat and repair the flagship for 30 seconds damage or so. And at this point, what you want to do, and thanks to TSM for this portion right here, is swing up to the far right and then come in at a very, very sharp angle toward the inside here. What I will sometimes do is stop just about here until this blunderbuss has fired a few shots at me, and then go towards the launcher right here, just run in real quick, kill this guy on the outside here. It does make it just a little bit less risky than doing a few other things like going directly into the target, which I actually do more often because it saves you the most time, but hey, whatever. Once this radioactive turret is down, you can go ahead and sit in this little inside zone right here, and you have to be very, very careful here because sometimes this other phlogiston turret likes to shoot at you. You want to try to avoid that. Once that's down, go ahead and run back away here toward the right side. These next two mountains are going to block the next blunderbuss here. In the meantime, you should notice that this turret is spilling out cheese balls. I hate this turret because it's not skill-based. You can't understand where it's going to land. It's really, really aggravating. So let's go ahead and move into the target a little bit further. Click on the phlogiston launchers right here, and the first one should be shooting at you. Go ahead and try and just barely get in range so you can click on the second one. You have to shift click. You can't move towards this one because you want this two mountains right here to be blocking off the blunderbuss turret right there. That's very, very important. You want to do that because if you run right close to these and add yourself next to them right here, the turret's actually going to hit you because the area of effect or splash or whatever it is going to last through the mountains. Now for this cheese ball cluster right here, just go ahead and grab that. Stay up north towards the very top right here, because otherwise the blunderbuss that's down here is going to grab you. Just make sure that you stay very north here, outside of its range, and stay outside of the range of this short range turret right here. Now, I tend to actually like to come back inside and grab the short range guy while you can. If you do it right, you will notice that the mountain does block very well the bottom blunderbuss, but the one on the left side actually gets through quite a few times because it's not blocked by the mountain. I like to dunk in and grab that. Other people don't. That's fine. Radioactive turret right here. You'll notice I actually stopped for just a second because I knew the timing well enough on this next blunderbuss that I could do that. Again, stopping helps you because it allows you to, I almost went too close to that. Stopping helps you because it makes sure that you're able to get your full bonus there on your shockwave, your supercharge, everything works better if you're stopped, but you have to stay moving to minimize damage. At this point in the target, you shouldn't be taking any more damage. I like to go ahead and just click on this middle building right here. You have to drive around sometimes because of these cheese balls, which again, I don't like because you can't tell where they're going to land, and kill this guy. Once that's dead, you can kill the building on the far left here, this little turret, and start moving around the right side of the target. Don't go too close to the land tiles just yet, because otherwise this blunderbuss will get you. Get that radioactive arc turret, whatever it is, there dead, and go ahead and kill this blunderbuss, and stay moving when you're engaging that guy, and you will do fine. There's the path, there's the video. I've done this target probably about 30, 40, 50 times at this point. Most of them have been 1 or 2 minutes repair on the flagship and base, and sometimes you can mess up and get more like 2 hours damage. Looking at the battle report here, you notice I took just maybe 1 shot of ballistic, maybe a little bit more than that, but I did take some ballistic damage across all 5 ships. That was from that little blunderbuss turret I messed up on, maybe something else in the target. And then radioactive damage, which is forced. The important number to focus on here is the sum of the resisted and taken across both different turret damage types. You want that to be minimized. Let's go ahead and look at the actual damage taken, and this is a full 1 million points for this target, which is fantastic, and it's the only one you need to be hitting. The total repair time on this one is 6 minutes and 7 seconds damage, and let's actually go ahead and pull back to base, look at the build on that one as well as the damage breakdown. Most cases, your flagship has 6 minutes out of 6 minutes damage, or if it's 11 minutes, your flagship's going to have the most damage. It's usually not instant repair. It does look like this time I did luck out, and I was able to do that for instant base repair, which is fantastic. Also, Kixeye gave you a free 3 million raid points and a free 12-hour repair token, which I have to say is pretty cool. Again, the reason for the 12-hour repair token as opposed to like 6 or 12 1-hour ones is they just want you to be able to repair 1 fleet, and that's what it is. Yes, it would be better if we got 12 1-hour repair tokens, but they don't really want us doing that. Now, the total build, the build is here. The standard ship is what I'll pull up right now, and this is actually, you're noticing I still have 2 ships at U3. I've still been getting back in here. But I do have 3 ships, including the flag at X1 and 2 ships at U3. I do have the Mortis launchers across several of these things, which is the limited one, as well as the Black Pyre heavy launcher in that U1 heavy slot, and then 1 of each armor type. The build is the pretty standard damage build across the back 5 ships with the carrying engine, the infested launcher barrel, the super riot shells, radioactive battery 2, atom absorption system, and the interception system. These are really important specials for your back 4 ships, and notice the armor points here, 24.16 million. Now your flagship is entirely different, and some people will disagree with me on this flag build, to which I say they're entitled to their opinion. And hey, if it works for you, it works for you, but you generally speaking want to have an evade flagship, because this has 27.67 million, whereas the others have 24. This means that every turret, which in this case is the Phlogiston launchers, which have King Killer, they're going to target the highest health ship. That's what King Killer means. And this means that you want a ton of evade on the ship right here. I've gone with a crazy evade build in which I drop all my damage specials, I remove all of them to put on a ton of evade. So I have the engine, which you need. I have the interception system, which gives you combat speed, which you need, and you need to match with the fleet, so that's important. And then I have Guidance Scrambler 3. You could use Agility System 4 here if you like. The only thing that Agility System 4 helps with in PvE, which is what these targets are, is evade. That stun resistance, slow resistance does not help, and it has never helped in PvE in the past 2 or 3 years. It just adds more build time. But you have an evade special, and then you have 2 different evade upgrades, and then I have a lowered cannon mount, which does add 50% evade. And this also reduces your combat speed because I'm taking it off and stuff like minus. It reduces your combat speed here minus 40%, which is pretty big, and you're taking off an evade combat speed special to put this on in the first place, which means you need to add that back on somewhere in the build, which I've done through using the Siege Mortar D75Bs, which add 10% combat speed, which, like I said, is pretty important. You need to have this get to the 118 combat speed to match with the rest of the fleet. And this is the build that, again, everyone else here is using. It's pretty standard to come up with. This allows you to have a pre-crew and pre-alliance buff of 89.7%, which is huge and is fantastic. You really want this, it is really important. So there's the build there for my flagship. You can make an argument for using radioactive armor here, 2 of them if you wanted. I'm not going to be bothered to change it. In fact, I don't even know if I own a second radioactive armor. Now, one thing you may want to pay attention to is that in the raid price list, there are a ton of different tokens that you can get here, which I had to get a lot of these things. By the way, Kixeye needs a better system for this. These little tabs on the left here should be different pages, but I digress. Now, there are DAGGERSPINE upgrade tokens here, which are fantastic. If you can afford the points and you're planning to play enough that it will be worth it to get them and have your fleet work better, you're going to want to get those. There are also upgrade tokens for the flagship, which is fantastic. Those, again, are quite good here. You'll also notice that there are some Arc Battle Cruiser build tokens. Those are okay. But the other thing here is there are build tokens for the ships here, for your DAGGERSPINE and for your flagship. I had to use those to refit mine, actually, as well as a few VXP tokens. So I spent a ton of points here, 20 million points on refitting the ships to make them better, so that the next 80 million points are a little bit easier to get. That was just my strategy here. I was showing you the build, the approach that I went with this one. If you go with a standard build which has only GS3 on the flagship, you're going to get hurt to some extent here because you're not going to have the insane 89% evade. Well, there's the video I've got for you. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment below and I'll make sure to get back to you. It's good to be back here and I'm looking forward to starting to make Battle Pirates videos again. These folks whose names appear on the end screen now are the ones who are, supporting the channel here, helping me keep playing Battle Pirates, which I've been doing this whole time here. I'm going to be updating those towards the middle of the month here with a few updated names. With that said, I want to go ahead and say thank you to everyone whose name appears on screen now, and until next time, this has been Derpy, signing out, helping you be a better pirate.